Here's that 5-3 game as a warm-up. Hassan chess. What to do? I'm gonna try Sicilian, I guess. Go for a classical. Or not. The delayed Bowdler attack is actually not so bad. Not as bad as the immediate bishop to c4. Leads to a closed Sicilian type of position. I think moving the bishop twice has got to be bad. I would assume that is bad. So I can just push this again, right? His knight can't really hop into c6. I mean, it can, but it can't really stay there. I mean, it goes into c6 with a threat on my queen, but my queen comes out to attack the knight, and then it just has to retreat, and it might even be trapped there. So the question is, do I want to fianchetto the bishop or keep it in the center? Let's start with this move while I'm thinking. I was talking about my dark squared bishop. You know, do I want to waste time with moving the g-pawn forward and putting the bishop here? So he's going to help me out here. Make my decision easy. By needlessly pushing his pawn forward. So the bishop will have a good diagonal from this square, I guess. And this bishop has already got a good diagonal. I probably could have just grabbed the pawn right away, but, you know, I don't know if putting the rook there and chasing my bishop away and grabbing a pawn here would be so great for me. Okay, went back to that side. So I can drop my bishop back to keep his knight from coming forward. And try and keep the bishop pair advantage. Can I do something directly? You know, I could take here, and when the rook attacks my bishop, I could take here. Then he takes my bishop attacking here. I guess I don't have a great follow-up. Could just castle too, but let's drop back. Castle now. See if he's going to bother to defend the pawn. No, he isn't. So, but if I take and he puts the rook here, it'll be this weird pin. So we'll take here first. Then and we'll bring this knight out. And now I'm ready to take here if I want to. There's still this weird thing where if I let's drop back here and keep his rook from coming in, and then I'll push this bishop away next. Yeah, the bishop is nearly... yeah, he just trapped his own bishop. Hassan chess. Hassan chess has made a mistake here. And I'm laughing because I didn't like the way he played. So I felt this was his just punishment. I don't like people who trade queens for no reason. What are they trying to accomplish? So he's going to play on. So let's watch where my king goes. If I just step forward, then there's no checks. And I'll chase his knight back. He can take this pawn. I'll take the knight. He takes the bishop. And I didn't really think that through, huh? But he decided to retreat his knight first. So what to do? Just take here, I guess. I can take there. Knight takes, defending this pawn. Or I could take here first. And just grab that pawn, I guess. So watch out for the checks. Anyway, put the bishop here to defend the pawn. So he wants to play pawn here to attack my bishop. Here, let's attack his. Let's attack his knight. Gives my king a little more room without having that knight to worry about. Now let's pin this guy. Okay, now let's attack the rook. If I attack the rook, he'll counterattack my bishop, I guess. Let's just take. That's simplest. Can check and drive the king here. It's pretty safe there. Let's see. Just got to make sure I've got room, a square for my bishop. Let's go here. So when he kicks my bishop, I can plant it here. Let's defend this pawn. And then let's march the other one forward. Get both pawns up here. And let's push the pawn forward. He's going to go and check me from behind. Let's put my king over here. Now the pawn is running. Maybe I should have pushed the pawn first, forced him to bring his rook over. Yeah, because he can push here. Oh, I see. He's going to defend that way. Let's see. Is there something clever I can do here? I don't see it. Just do the normal thing. Sorry. Let's take with the king, I guess. And let's bring this guy around. Just want to put my rook behind the pawn. If he moves his king there, I'll start this pawn going forward. I guess I don't do that just yet. Yeah, let's start with putting the rook behind the pawn. He changed his mind, huh? See, if I push forward and he takes, I'll take here. If he pushes the other pawn forward, I'll take it. Yeah, let's just bust up his little structure here. Oh, exciting. Let's go with the check here. No, I don't know. Why should I give him that much credit? If I take this pawn, he takes the rook. And I step forward with the king. No, then I push the pawn. Yeah, I just take here. Gonna take here next if he doesn't take my rook. If he does take my rook, I push this pawn forward and my bishop guards that square. And my king is coming here to shepherd this pawn through. So that looked like the simplest continuation. Gives him no play. And he resigned finally. Okay. So let's see if we can get a rapid game after that win in Blitz. Yeah, the danger in positions like that is you just start playing quickly because pretty much everything wins. But if you spend a little thought and try and find the clearest winning continuation, it will pay off in the long run. Avoid those little losses, those pointless losses. You know, 10 plus 5 is a rapid time control too. Let's do that one. Maybe I'll have better luck. There we go. Let's start with d4. So pretty evenly matched by rating anyway. And what do we get here? Nimzo Indian, Grinfeld, King's Indian, Queen's Indian. Okay, let's go ahead and put the knight there. Be prepared to take back with a piece if he decides to trade his good bishop for my knight. Not likely, but sometimes they will do that if they can inflict pawn damage. So black is going for the double fianchetto. Oh, interesting. Well, I might fianchetto this bishop. There's no pressure on the center, so I don't have to be in a hurry to develop this bishop out here. I can take time for b3 and bishop b2. b3 and bishop b2 like that. And so both sides get to develop as they please. He's not, you know, the bishop pen here is often kind of annoying. in this situation where he pushed the pawns forward and developed a knight to c3. But because he put his bishop over here, put his bishop on g7, I really don't have to worry about that at all. So I could also consider putting my bishop out here. But I think I like it here, opposing his bishop. I'll probably push my pawns through in the center. I could start with queen to c2. You can't put the bishop there at the moment because the knight and the queen are covering it, even though it is supported by the knight. So let's try this idea. And then I can play e4 when I want to. Well, let's see if this is the right time for it. I play e4. Where is he going to go? If I ever play d5, he's going to bring a knight here, so I have to be prepared for that. e4 gives up the f4 square, but that does not seem to be an issue at the moment. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of e4 and d5, opening up my bishop. I just have to worry about his knight here. Maybe, let's see, well, if I start with e4, can he do anything to undermine it? He can push on with d4 himself, d5. He takes. Let's put a rook over here first, opposite his queen. So he switches to that file. Okay, now I'm going to push with e4. I might put my other rook on the e file, opposite his queen, now that he's targeted. He's placed that there for me conveniently. I could also shift this bishop to this square. I have to make sure my e pawn is defended, but it's not under attack. My d pawn is not under attack. Okay, so he decides to fix the structure like this. So I could take once. To soften up the center a bit. See how he takes back. Then maybe I'll play b4 next to stop his knight from coming to the c5 square. Okay, so he brought his knight there. That's what I was wondering. He can also take with the queen here, if he wants to keep his pawn structure intact, you know, all on the second and third ranks. Now there he decides it's worth a while. Okay, so now I've got a good square for my knight, and when I bring the knight forward, it opens up this diagonal for my bishop. So I like this knight hop in here. The question is, how do I take back? He'll probably trade, right? I could take back with the c-pawn, and then, yeah, there'd be pressure maybe on this backwards c-pawn, his backwards c-pawn. Yeah, I think I like that. Just have to make sure this is adequately defended over here. Let's do it. He doesn't have to take. It just seemed like that might be a likely outcome. This looks like a good square for that piece, and he might want to chase it away. And pushing the pawn, I'll take here. Yeah, so he takes. So double check. If I take with this pawn, he has counterplay by pushing the e-pawn. If I take with the c-pawn, I have this half-open file. I can gang up on his c-pawn. He'll probably push his c-pawn right away, but we'll deal with that when we get there. You know, the one thing he can do is put a bishop here, which will make it difficult for me to put a rook on c8, which is what I kind of want to do. So I wonder if there's some way. I want to threaten bishop a3. Even if he pushes his pawn, I could take on passant. But it takes so many moves to get over there. It's going to be too slow. It's going to be just too slow to play that way. So let's reposition the bishop this way so that I can put a rook on the c file. I do like to chase tactics sometimes, but really in pursuit of tactics, you can sometimes leave yourself with a bad position. So you should do it the other way around. Your tactical pursuits should serve your positional interests and not vice versa. But I do have a weakness for a good tactic. Yeah, he could see it all coming, so it was not going to amount to a whole lot. So yeah, now I'm going to double on the C file, and he'll have to defend it, I guess. Maybe he's just going to push his f-pawn forward. That's a logical plan here. I would probably play f3 in response to that. Aha, so he defended in advance. It's interesting. So now I can think about putting my bishop here. And this is serving a useful purpose. It's a good square for the bishop. And if I get control of c8 there, then I can gang up on c7. Yeah, so he goes there immediately. I was expecting that. Now, before I said I wanted to play f3 if he played f5. I can still play that. He could push and I could drop back. I wouldn't be able to get my bishop out here. So I'm thinking, what about taking? If I take, I probably am going to end up losing this pawn in the long run. I take, he'll probably take back with the pawn. That's what is most appealing to me in this position. Keeps my bishop from coming here. I could put a bishop on this square. I could bring my dark squared bishop out to this square. How about the counter push? What if I push this pawn forward? He takes and it hits my queen. It's not doing what I want at this point. Okay, I think I will just defend that pawn then. I'm surprised he took. Yeah, I would have expected him to push. It gains a tempo on my bishop. I would drop back, and then he can look forward to pushing the other pawns forward, kind of a King's Indian style attack against my king, where I gain space over here. But instead, he goes like this. So this is not going to amount to a whole lot. Here, let's put my rook back here. Let's see how he plans to defend c7 again. Kind of a one-track mind here, but yeah, that is running into this, right? I thought he had to play rook to f7 so he could defend along the side, and then I would try and exploit, I could kick his queen around anyway with the bishops. So he's coming out with the queen. Yeah, he wants to get active. Let's take the rook. I guess he was thinking, does he want to play on or not? So I'm going to take here. He's going to come in with the queen. I can just drop my queen back. Well, he decided to resign. Yeah. I'm going to take here. And I don't see that he has very much in compensation. Oh, we have time for another Blitz game. That was a quick rapid game. So let's play another Blitz. See if I can go 3 for 3. Salaj Ju 13. Okay, queen, pawn to d4. Okay, maybe we can play the Gambit, the Rosenthal. Is that what it's called? Not Rosenthal. There's some Gambit here that I'm playing. Oh, he didn't take it. Okay, it's an interesting Gambit. See, he takes, and then I could take here. What to do? What you're trying to do is provoke this exchange, so you can take back, and then you'd have a big center, even if you lose a pawn here, and push this pawn forward. But he's not going for any of that, so so I should take, I guess. And we'll get a Benoni type of position where I got an extra pawn push in here. So I'm going to fianchetto this bishop. It's getting a little dangerous for white already. For example, I can move my queen out with check. What did he play? Oh, he took the pawn. Yeah. I could move my queen out with check, and then I can move this knight, and then his rook has no squares. It can get trapped back there. But I have to deal with this check first, so let's block. He has to take because of the check, or retreat. He can retreat. So I still have the check. Let's go ahead and do that. To unpin my knight. Yeah, he blocks with the knight. So I take here, he takes my knight, I take his rook, he takes my bishop. That's just 2 pieces. 2 pieces for a Yeah, 2 pieces for a rook, it's not worth it. Let's ask this bishop where it's going. Uh-huh. Well, now he's going to move the rook, I guess. Yep. Okay, so I should probably castle somewhere around here. I was really surprised he didn't trade off my bishop when he just retreated. I mean, this bishop looks pretty useless there, but I still have to prove that this is not correct for him. You know, I don't have much use for this bishop either, actually. If truth be told, where's the best way to get this knight into the game? Yeah, let's bring the bishop out this way and bring the knight out here. It seems like the most natural development. Yeah, I was going to trade. That was my plan. Just wondering if there was something else here. No, I just have to, actually, at that point. I was kind of forgetting I'm down a pawn here. So that's, I suppose, why he's being very, very casual in his development. Let's drop back so I can bring my knight in. Bring a rook over to attack the center. Attack the center. Okay, decides to give the piece back. I mean, give the pawn back. Pretty reasonable choice. Not necessary, though. I'm not really sure why he did that, actually. Okay, so now I have check. King takes, rook takes rook, because my queen is on the rook. And of course he could ignore it. Well, it depends on if he spots the idea. I go check. Instead of taking my bishop, he could go to f1. And he didn't. He went for it. I think a little thought would have convinced him f1 was better. Anyway, I'll look up the name of that gambit and put it in the description of this video so you can see the gambit I was trying to play. Rosenfeld, I think it is, something like that. Did he not see that coming? I mean, obviously when I play the bishop out here, I'm expecting him to take it and take back. Or did he think that he had something here? So it's, yeah, I'm just up the exchange now. The pawns are even. Just need to bring my rook in, and also his bishop is a bad piece still. Although it does control this square. Otherwise, you know, I could have a rook not there. Erase those. I could have rook here to here. That would be nice, but doesn't actually work with this bishop guarding that. So it's not a totally useless piece, but so what's the way to continue here? I'd like to get my queen on the dark squares here. Ideally, I'd like to get it on this diagonal, you know, so he doesn't get it. But he was taking up some of those squares. Well, let's check and take that. The endgame will be much easier after the queen trade. Rook versus bishop and a pawn up. Can't go wrong. So yeah, he didn't go for that. Well, now I get my queen on this diagonal where I wanted it. Next, got to get the rook in the game. It's nice to have the queen here to guard against sacrifices. If the queen weren't around, he could sacrifice the bishop for 2 pawns and then maybe get, or even 3, and then maybe get a perpetual check here. So you do have to be careful about things like that. Let's defend the h-pawn. Maybe rook here to here to here. Looking at that. Yeah, so he controls that square. I could, excuse me, I could play here. Attacking the pawn. Activating the rook this way. Okay, so he's just asking me, what is my plan? Let's threaten to win the queen. So he defends. Now, put the queen here, here, here. I'll use the threat of trading queens to get my queen to a better position. Looking at this diagonal, so his king doesn't have easy escapes. He decided to go for the trade. So that is true. He can now maneuver his bishop around to maybe get a passed pawn here, but I'm quick enough to stop that one, and I've got pawns of my own. Okay, don't be too careful. I mean, don't be too careless. I'll be ashamed if I moved my king there, and then he took my rook. That'll be a sad way to lose this game. Okay, I can checkmate him now. All right, well, that was a nice game. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll put the name of that gambit in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.